There are people who walk into rooms and don't say a word, and the room still adjusts to them. You may be one of them. You've been told you're too quiet, too reserved, hard to read, that you should speak up more, that you come across as distant. But there's something the louder ones never noticed, something the perceptive ones always did. What you carry has a name. It isn't shyness, it isn't aloofness. It's rarer than that, and far older than this moment in your life. It's the kind of presence others feel before they understand, the kind that lingers in a room after you've left it, the kind that has shaped how people respond to you for as long as you can remember. You've felt it. You've just never had the language for it. Tonight, you finally will. Because before we name the 7 signs, there is one quiet truth you should know. What others have called your reserve has, in fact, been a frequency. And once you see that, the first sign becomes impossible to unsee. The first sign is this: voice is lower when you enter. You've noticed it without naming it. You walk into the kitchen at a family gathering, and within 90 seconds, the volume around the island settles into a different register. The teenager stops shouting at her brother. Your sister sets down her glass. You haven't spoken yet. No one announces it. No one is even aware they did it. But the room recalibrated to you. You learned this young. You grew up paying close attention to the emotional weather of rooms. Your inner system became steady because, somewhere nearby, someone else's was not. That steadiness is now a frequency others tune to without realizing they are tuning. Rooms feel you. There is a quiet weight in this. You sometimes feel responsible for the calm in a space, as if your steadiness is being borrowed without permission, and you can't quite set it down. But understand what this actually is. You are what nervous system researchers call a co-regulator. Your presence teaches other people's inner systems how to come down. You are not loud. You are the architecture of calm in a restless world. And once you see that first pattern, the second one starts to make a different kind of sense. If something here is already naming a part of you that has been quietly waiting to be understood, pause for a moment. This channel, UNFELT, was made for people who feel deeply, think slowly, and have lived a long time without the language for who they are. If that is you, you've found your room. Stay close. Now, back to the part of you that's been waiting to be recognized. The second sign is one people may have told you, even if clumsily. Your silence makes others speak honestly. When you don't rush to fill the space, people fill it with what they actually meant to say. A colleague steps into your office to talk about a project. You nod once. You don't interject. 40 seconds pass. They keep speaking. And then almost from nowhere, they say the real thing. The thing they didn't know they came in to say. You learned this early. You noticed that interrupting someone's pause was how truths got lost. You became the listener who waits. And the silences you offered slowly became the soil where other people grew their real thoughts. That was never nothing. The cost is quiet but real. People often leave your presence having unburdened themselves, while you remain holding what they put down. But what you have is something most adults spend years trying to learn: the steadiness to stay present in another person's discomfort without rushing to fix it. Most cannot do it. You have been doing it since you were a child. That was the second layer. The next one runs even quieter, and yet it shapes how people remember you long after the conversation has ended. The third sign is this: you are remembered when the louder voices are forgotten. People who talked twice as much as you in the same room cannot be recalled a week later. You can. 3 weeks after a conference, someone messages you. They cannot remember who gave the keynote. They remember the brief conversation you had near the coffee station. They remember what you said and the way you didn't fill the silence afterward. You leave an afterimage in people, not noise, an imprint. You were rarely the child who performed for adults. You were the one observed in passing, and the adults who noticed you noticed something specific. That pattern never stopped. It was never coldness. Being remembered without being fully seen in the moment can feel lonely, as if you are felt more than known. But memory is the most enduring form of influence there is. You are not loud, you are durable. And durability is a kind of presence the world quietly trusts. And the next sign reveals why people choose you quietly, almost without deciding when something heavier than ordinary is happening in their lives. The fourth sign is something you have probably noticed for decades without naming. Acquaintances make small talk with the room. They bring their actual questions to you. Your neighbor, whom you barely know, stops you at the mailbox. She begins by talking about the weather. 2 minutes later, she's telling you about her mother, about the hospital, about something she hasn't told anyone. She looks startled afterward, almost embarrassed, as if she didn't plan to say it. You weren't surprised. Somewhere early in your life, you became the person trusted with the heavier sentence. Maybe a parent confided in you when you were still too young to fully carry it. You learned that depth was safe in your hands. And people have been recognizing that signal in you ever since, even strangers. You've always known. There is a real burden in being the resting place for what was never meant to be yours to carry. Many quiet people grow tired in a way no one around them sees. You have sometimes felt full of other people's lives without anyone asking about your own. That part is true, and it deserves naming. But the people who choose you with the heavy sentence are not choosing you randomly. They are recognizing a pair of hands that will not mishandle what is put down in them. That is rare. It has always been rare. And this is the place where most people stop looking. This is where the real understanding begins. If the language being given to you here is naming something you've carried for decades quietly, without complaint, without recognition, this kind of language is what we make here every week. Stay close. There is more waiting for the part of you that has been listening this whole time. Now we move into the part of this that runs deeper than the rest. The fifth sign is the one that takes the longest to grow into. You no longer need to win the moment. While others are still proving themselves, you have quietly stopped needing to. Someone interrupts you at dinner with a louder version of the point you just made. You watch them. You smile slightly. You don't correct them. Across the table, your spouse catches your eye for half a second, and you both know that isn't shyness. You may have spent a younger decade trying to be impressive. You learned, slowly and at some cost, that the people who needed to be impressed were rarely the people whose recognition actually mattered. Something inside you released. It has not returned. And yet there is something here you should hear plainly. Restraint has cost you real things. There have been promotions you did not get because someone louder claimed your idea and you let them. There have been people you loved who needed you to argue for them, and you didn't because you were still listening. Some of them never came back. This is part of the truth. Your quietness has not been free. But quiet sovereignty is the rarest form of confidence there is. You are not in the room to be measured, and the people whose recognition is actually worth having, they know. And this is where the whole picture begins to come into focus. The thing you have quietly suspected about yourself for years, but never had the language for. What you carry is not the absence of voice, it is the presence of a regulated interior in a restless world. When a person carries genuine inner steadiness, other people's inner systems calibrate to theirs without anyone deciding it. This is why voices lower around you, why strangers tell you too much, why rooms feel different after you have entered them. You are not being noticed in the ordinary sense. You are being felt at a frequency most adults are no longer sending. Stillness is signal. Your quietness has never been empty space. It has been the most honest form of presence a person can offer another. The sixth sign is this. Your presence rearranges the atmosphere of a room. You don't change rooms with words. You change them by being in them. You walk into the hospital waiting room where your adult son is sitting with his wife. You don't say much. You sit beside them. Within 10 minutes, your daughter-in-law's shoulders have lowered an inch. No one comments on it, but the room is different. Some people learn early in life that the quality of their attention has weight. Yours did. Whether you held a younger sibling through a long evening, steadied a worried parent, or simply learned to be the one who didn't flinch, your presence became a kind of quiet furniture in the rooms of other people's lives. It stayed with you. There is a particular loneliness in this you should not minimize. You are often the steady one, and rarely the one for whom another person is steady. There are evenings when you have wished, without saying it to anyone, that someone in the room could do for you what you do for everyone else. That wish has gone unmet for longer than most people would believe. But what you have is not charisma. Charisma performs. Yours is gravity. And the people who have lived long enough to tell the difference recognize it instantly. And now we reach the deepest of all of them, the one that takes a lifetime to develop, and the one most people misunderstand entirely, even when they have spent decades being shaped by it. The seventh sign is the rarest, and it is not what most people assume it is. It is not that you read others deeply. It is that in your presence, people meet themselves. You're at a funeral. People keep coming up to you. You've said almost nothing. A cousin you barely know holds onto your hand for a long beat and whispers, "Thank you for being here." You wonder later what they thought you did. You didn't do anything. That is the secret of it. Most of the people who feel known by you are not being read. They are meeting themselves in the quietness you offer. Your stillness is a kind of clear surface, and in a world full of opinions and reactions and noise, a clear surface is the rarest thing a person can stand in front of. People feel known in your presence because, for once, no one is interrupting them long enough for them to know themselves. This is older than you. That is not perceptiveness. It is something stranger and quieter. It is the gift of letting another person become visible to themselves. There is a cost in this you should not pretend away. People sometimes credit you with insight you did not offer. They bring you expectations you never agreed to carry. They may love you for who they became in your presence, not for who you actually are. That is a particular kind of solitude, and you have lived inside it longer than most. But this rare ability to hold space without filling it, is what most adults spend a lifetime trying to learn and never quite manage. You did not learn it. It became you. So, if you have lived most of your life being told you should be louder, that you should put yourself out there, that you come across as cold, that you are somehow missing out on something, hear this clearly, slowly, the way a truth lands when it has finally found the right room to land in. You were never the one who lost the room. You were the one the room oriented around. And yes, there has been a real cost. There is no honest version of this conversation that pretends otherwise. You have been misread by people whose recognition would have meant something to you. You have been the steady one in rooms where no one was steady for you. You have stood beside people who needed you to speak louder, and you didn't, because that was not your nature, and some of them have not understood it. Some never will. You have carried meetings you did not get credit for. You have carried friendships in which you were the depth and they were the surface. You have carried evenings where you wished, quietly, that someone in your life could do for you even once what you have done for so many others, without being asked. That is real. That deserves to be said out loud, and rarely is. But hear this just as clearly. You do not need to become louder. The world does not lack for noise. What it has always lacked, and what it has always quietly drawn toward, is the kind of presence you have carried for as long as you can remember. The kind that does not perform. The kind that does not announce itself. The kind that people only fully understand long after you have left the room. If you have spent decades being the steady one, with no one being steady for you in return, this is the place built for that. This channel exists for people whose depth has never been fully met. For people whose self-understanding arrives slowly, through life experience rather than through performance. For people who feel older than their age, in ways no one around them notices. If that is you, you are welcome here. Stay close. This is your room. You don't have to change. You don't have to become more visible. The quietness you were once told to apologize for has been a form of inner wisdom, most people never reach in a lifetime. You have always carried it. Tonight, you finally have the language for it.